Hysteria in the swamps. The descendants of samurai are threatening Mother Russia. Japan is conducting joint military exercises with the U.S. near Russia's far eastern border.
Let's go, everyone.
Official Tokyo accuses Moscow of militarizing the region and strengthening military ties with Kim Jong-un.
I would like to specifically note the participation of servicemen from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea in the liberation of the border areas of the Kursk region.
In the Kremlin offices, they are openly stating that preparations for an actual war with Japan have indeed begun.
Tokyo, bypassing the restrictions imposed after World War II, is building up its aircraft carrier fleet, submarine forces, and missile armaments. This will inevitably create risks for the safe functioning of Russia's Far East.
It's noteworthy that Russia and Japan have a long history of wars, and to this day, a peace treaty has not been signed following World War II. A territorial dispute over the ownership of the Kuril Islands continues between the two countries.
It should be noted for the first time since 2003, the Japanese authorities have officially declared the Kuril Islands illegally occupied by the Russian Federation.
Is Japan preparing for war? What is the current state of the naval forces of these two countries, which are technically still at war? How did the samurai at the beginning of the last century already destroy the Russian fleet, and with it, the empire? All this and more coming up next on Arsenal. Large-scale military exercises by the US and Japan off the far eastern coast of Russia are evidence that the Pacific region is gradually becoming an increasingly hot spot. The US, Taiwan, China, Japan, Russia, North and South Korea. The joint exercises between Washington and Tokyo are a show of potential and strength to the enemies from the so-called evil empire.
The Kuril Islands will undergo active development, and at the same time, their strategic role will grow, including through the deployment of new types of weaponry there. Russia doesn't care about the feelings of the Japanese. The territorial issue is closed once and for all in accordance with the Constitution.
The United States views the broader Pacific region as one of the highest priorities of its foreign policy doctrine and strategic interests.
A total of more than 12,000 military personnel and 400 aircraft are involved in the US-Japan exercises. They are taking place at 50 different locations throughout the entire Indo-Pacific region. In the US, the exercises are explained as preparation for possible crises and as a way to strengthen military partnerships with allies. In Russia, the large-scale military exercises near the far eastern borders have caused concern. The Russian Foreign Ministry delivered a note of protest to the Japanese ambassador and also regarded Japan's actions as preparation for an attack on Russia.
From the Self-Defense Forces Command, there were direct and clear hints that the pressing need for these significant measures was clearly dictated by Russia's increased and substantial efforts to further strengthen its own defense capabilities. Russia considers such irresponsible activity, which bears all the hallmarks of preparation for an armed conflict, to be unacceptable.
In Russia, the Pacific Fleet of the Russian Navy is responsible for the region. Despite the fact that part of the occupiers' personnel, specifically the 155th Marine Brigade, is involved in the war against Ukraine, the Russian Pacific Fleet remains well-staffed.
He commanded the legendary 155th Separate Guards Marine Brigade of the Pacific Fleet, which truly earned considerable glory in the toughest and most challenging battles on the most critical fronts, indeed.
And the Russian Federation is patching up holes in the most problematic sections of the front in Ukraine. According to the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense, the 155th Brigade has already replaced its personnel for the third time. In other words, the losses are catastrophic.
The formidable Russian fleet is extensively armed with strategic missile submarines, versatile multipurpose nuclear and diesel submarines, numerous surface ships designed for operations in both vast oceanic and crucial coastal zones, powerful naval anti-submarine and fighter aviation, robust ground forces, and specialized units of land and coastal troops. Most of the ships, submarines, and weapons are Soviet legacy and developments from the Cold War era with the United States.
The year of manufacture is, at best, the early 90s. Tver is from 1992, K-150 Omsk is from 1996, Omsk is from 1993, Chelyabinsk is actually from 1990, and Irkutsk is from 1988.
In addition to the ships and submarines, the flagship of the Pacific Fleet, the Guard's missile cruiser Variak, has also become morally obsolete.
The Pacific Fleet of the Russian Federation is significantly inferior to the naval forces of Japan. The missile boats of Project 1241, the so-called Malnia project, were commissioned between 1984 and 2003. But it should be noted that the flagship of the Pacific Fleet of the Russian Federation is the cruiser Variak, a rather symbolic name, by the way. It was commissioned in 1989.
The headquarters of the Pacific Fleet is located in Vladivostok. Notably, at the end of July, earthquakes followed by tsunamis caused serious damage to Russia's largest naval base in Kamchatka.
The Russian nuclear submarine base was damaged by the tsunami. Powerful waves caused by a massive earthquake with a magnitude of 8.8 significantly damaged the naval base where ships of the Pacific Fleet are stationed.
As history shows, Japan has the upper hand in naval battles. It was the samurai who dealt the Russian fleet its greatest defeat in history. Tsushima, or the Battle of Tsushima, during the Russo-Japanese War of 1905, ended with the complete destruction of the Russian Empire's 2nd Pacific Squadron. More than 20 ships were sunk or destroyed. 7 Russian cruisers surrendered. More than 5,000 sailors lost their lives. One of the main advantages of the Japanese Empire was technological. Tsar Nicholas II's fleet lagged behind in maneuverability, protection, and armament. Now, according to experts, a similar situation remains. Japan, with maritime neighbors like China, North Korea, and Russia, is investing enormous resources into developing and strengthening its naval forces.
Russia officially holds the 3rd position in the global world ranking of naval powers, after the formidable United States and the rapidly expanding China. Accordingly, Japan is in 4th place. However, it should be noted that Japan's maritime self-defense forces have a more modern and technologically advanced fleet, including powerful destroyers, versatile frigates, stealthy submarines, and impressive helicopter carriers. Specifically, there are 4 such helicopter carriers.
In addition to its powerful fleet, it is the land of the rising sun that has advanced further than others in developing the weapons of future naval battles, the so-called EMRs, or electromagnetic railguns. It is precisely EMRs that are being considered by leading powers as a potential countermeasure to the hypersonic missiles actively being developed by the so-called Axis of evil countries. The railguns developed by Japan will be used on ships, cruisers, and in coastal areas as air defense systems.
The main objective, yes, is to intercept hypersonic weapons. That's why this is the main focus of their current efforts. And considering that the main and most pressing threat right now emanating from the so-called Axis of Evil, a group of nations that includes the People's Republic of China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia, is in fact the development and proliferation of advanced hypersonic weapons, which represent a significant and evolving challenge to global security. Therefore, it is likely that the main focus of developing this type of weapon will be specifically in this area.
That's all for now. Don't forget to write in the comments which types of weapons you'd like to learn more about. Give this video a like and, of course, subscribe to our Arsenal channel. The link is in the description below the video.